Not every food item likes to be cold. Believe it or not, putting some foods in the fridge can actually make them taste worse, change their texture, or even reduce their nutritional benefits. Knowing where to store different types of food is key to making sure they stay as delicious and healthy as possible until you're ready to eat them. By keeping these foods out of the fridge, you'll ensure they taste better, stay fresh longer, and maintain their nutritional value. Now, let's dive into a list of 10 foods that are better off staying out of the refrigerator. Number 1. Tomatoes. Tomatoes taste and feel their best when they're kept out of the fridge. Keeping them cold can make them lose their natural sugary taste, making them taste dull. The cold can also mess up their texture, making them mushy. This happens because the cold stops the enzymes that give tomatoes their delicious taste from working right. So, when you keep tomatoes in the fridge, they don't have the juicy, bright taste that they do when they're kept at room temperature. Tomatoes don't like the cold because they originally come from warm climates. When you store them in a cold place, it stops them from ripening properly, which means they can't develop their full taste. If you let them stay at room temperature, however, they can ripen the way they're supposed to, which makes them taste better. Not just the taste, keeping tomatoes cold can also affect how healthy they are for you. Tomatoes have lots of good stuff in them, like a powerful antioxidant called lycopene. Cold temperatures can lower the amount of these healthy compounds, which means you don't get as many health benefits. The best place to keep tomatoes is on the counter or in a fruit bowl at room temperature. If you place them stem side down, it helps them keep their freshness by stopping moisture from getting out. If your tomatoes are already ripe and you can't use them right away, it's okay to put them in the fridge for a bit. But remember to take them out and let them come back to room temperature before you eat them to enjoy their best taste. Number 2. Onions. Storing onions in the fridge is not recommended for several reasons. Firstly, the fridge's moist environment can cause onions to become soft and mushy, and may even lead to mold growth. Onions last longer in a place that's cool and dry, rather than in cold, damp conditions like those inside a refrigerator. Another drawback of refrigerating onions is that it affects their texture and flavor. The cold temperature changes the onion's natural starches into sugars, making them sweeter. While this might seem like a good thing, it actually changes the onion's original taste and makes them less suitable for a variety of cooking styles. Onions also tend to pick up smells from their surroundings. This means that when stored in the tightly packed space of a fridge, they can start to absorb all the different odors present, leading to some not-so-pleasant combinations of flavors. Imagine your desserts or fruits tasting like onions, not the most pleasant thought. Additionally, keeping onions in the fridge can cause them to sprout quicker. While sprouted onions are still edible, their quality in terms of texture and taste may not be as good. If you need to store leftover onions, you might think the fridge is the best place. However, it's important to store them properly to avoid issues. If you cut an onion and need to save the rest for later, make sure to place the leftover piece in an airtight container before putting it in the fridge. This helps to prevent the onion from absorbing any unwanted smells and keeps your other food from tasting like onions. Number 3. Garlic. Garlic shouldn't be kept in the fridge because it can start to sprout. Putting garlic in the cold makes it turn green and changes how it tastes and feels. The fridge's chilly, moist air helps mold grow, which ruins the garlic. Also, when garlic gets cold, the sugars inside it can change into starches. This means the garlic might not taste as strong, losing some of the flavors that make it so great for cooking. Keeping garlic in the fridge can also make it more moist than it should be. This extra moisture can make the garlic cloves either turn rubbery or get moldy, which isn't good for its taste or how long it lasts. Plus, garlic stored in the fridge might pick up smells from other foods because its skin is like a sponge, absorbing any strong odors around it. This can mess up the garlic's own flavor, making it less tasty for your meals. The best way to store garlic is in a spot that's cool, dry, and has plenty of air moving around. Room temperature, about 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 to 18 degrees Celsius, is perfect. You should keep garlic bulbs in something like a mesh bag or any container that's not totally closed off. This helps keep the air flowing and stops mold from growing. Number 4. Potatoes. When it's very cold, the starch in potatoes can change into sugar. This change can make the potatoes taste different and affect how they feel when you eat them. The best way to keep potatoes tasting good is to store them in a place that is cool and doesn't get much light. Keeping potatoes in a fridge, however, might not be a great idea for a few reasons. Cooking potatoes that have been in the fridge at high temperatures can lead to the creation of a chemical called acrylamide. Acrylamide might be harmful because it is considered a potential cancer-causing agent. This chemical forms more easily in potatoes that have been stored in cold places, like a refrigerator. Keeping potatoes at room temperature can help lower the chance of this chemical forming. When you keep potatoes in the fridge, they tend to get more moist. This extra moisture can encourage bacteria to grow, which isn't good for the potatoes. They like to be in a dry place to stay fresh longer. If there's too much moisture, the potatoes can start to rot faster and might even begin to smell bad. The cold air in the fridge can also harm the enzymes in potatoes. These enzymes are important for keeping the potatoes in good condition. When damaged, the potatoes might break down faster, which can change how they taste and affect their quality when you cook them. Another thing that can happen when you store potatoes in the fridge is that they can become gritty. This happens because the cold turns their starch into sugar, which changes the texture. For these reasons, it's better to keep potatoes out of the fridge. Find a spot that is cool, dark, and dry to store them. This way, they'll stay fresh longer, taste better, and have a nice texture when you cook them. Number 5. Avocados. Avocados are best kept at room temperature instead of in the fridge. When you put them in the refrigerator, it stops them from ripening properly. This is because the cold temperature slows down the natural processes that make the avocados ripen and turn soft. Because of this, avocados can stay hard and not ready to eat. When left out at room temperature, avocados ripen as they should, becoming soft and creamy, which is how most people like them. Storing avocados in the cold also makes them taste less flavorful. This happens because the cold air affects the natural compounds that give avocados their delicious taste. Avocados are a bit special because they only ripen after they have been picked from the tree. If you refrigerate them, it stops this natural ripening, which affects how good they taste and feel. Sometimes, keeping them in the fridge can also make their skin turn dark, while the inside remains not ripe enough. Not only that, but avocados don't like being too moist, and sometimes the fridge can be a damp place. This moisture can make avocados go bad faster because it can lead to mold. To avoid this, it's better to keep them in a dry spot at room temperature until they're just right to eat. However, if you have avocados that are already ripe and you're not ready to eat them immediately, then you can put them in the fridge to keep them from getting overripe. But remember, if you do this, you should eat them within a few days to still enjoy their best taste and texture. Number 6. Bananas. Bananas are a type of tropical fruit known for their distinct characteristics, which make them more suitable for storage at room temperature rather than in the fridge. Here's why keeping bananas out of the fridge is a good idea. First, bananas naturally enjoy warmer environments. When you put them in the fridge, the cold can harm the fruit's cell walls, making the banana's skin turn brown and changing its texture for the worse. This is because the cold stops the bananas from ripening correctly, leading to a taste and texture that aren't as satisfying as a properly ripened banana. Moreover, bananas are sensitive to a gas called ethylene, which some fruits and vegetables produce as they ripen. Storing bananas in the fridge alongside these ethylene-producing items can make the bananas ripen unevenly. This might make the outside of the banana look ripe, but the inside could still be unripe, affecting the overall quality of the fruit. Another point is that bananas develop their sweetness through the work of certain enzymes. The cold environment of a fridge slows down these enzymes, which means the bananas won't get as sweet as they would if they were kept at room temperature. Room temperature is ideal for these enzymes to do their job well, ensuring the bananas taste naturally sweet. Also, when bananas are refrigerated, their skins can turn dark more quickly than if they were kept at room temperature. This darkening skin might make it seem like the bananas are overripe, when that might not be the case, leading to confusion about the fruit's actual quality. Keeping bananas at room temperature helps them keep a consistent appearance and ensures they taste better. Regarding their nutritional value, bananas offer many essential nutrients, including antioxidants, that can be lost if the bananas are stored in the fridge. To get the most health benefits from bananas, it's best to keep them in a cool, dry place, but not too cold like a refrigerator. In summary, for the best taste, texture, and nutritional benefits, it's recommended to store bananas at room temperature. This helps maintain their quality and ensures you enjoy the full natural sweetness and health benefits that bananas offer. Number 7. Bread. Keeping bread in the fridge isn't a great idea, and here's why. Firstly, being in a cold place actually makes bread become stale faster. This happens because the cold makes the bread's starch turn hard and crystalline, which gives the bread a dry and tough feel. Also, bread needs to stay away from moisture, but the fridge can be quite humid, and this humidity can make your bread soggy. Another reason to avoid the fridge is that it can ruin the taste of your bread. Bread can pick up and hold on to odors, so if your fridge has strong-smelling foods, your bread might start tasting and smelling odd. Plus, even though it might seem like the fridge keeps bread fresh by slowing down mold, it's actually messing with the bread's aging process in a bad way. The cold does slow mold growth, but it speeds up another process, called retrogradation of starch, which makes the bread stale quicker than if it were at room temperature. So, what should you do if you can't finish your bread soon and don't want it to go bad? Freezing it is a much better option. If you freeze slices in a sealed bag, it stops the bread from aging without ruining its texture or taste. When you're ready to enjoy your bread, just take out what you need and let it thaw at room temperature. This way, you get to keep your bread tasting fresh and delicious for longer. Number 8. Honey. Putting honey in the fridge can make it turn solid and grainy pretty quickly. This happens because the cold makes the sugars in the honey form little crystals, which changes how smooth and liquid it feels. If you keep honey at room temperature, it stays runny and smooth for a longer time. Honey also likes to soak up moisture from its surroundings. When you refrigerate honey, the lack of moisture can water it down and change how it tastes. Leaving your honey in a place that's cool and dry helps keep its flavor and quality just as it should be. Another neat thing about honey is that it's naturally a bit acidic, with a pH between 3 and 4. This acidity makes an environment where bacteria don't like to grow, acting like a natural shield against spoilage. Since ancient times, people have used honey to keep their food from going bad because of this special feature. If you put honey in the fridge, it can get too thick and hard to pour, which is a hassle when you want to use it in recipes or as a topping. Honey that's kept at room temperature, on the other hand, is much easier to work with. You can smoothly mix it into recipes or drizzle it on your favorite dishes without any trouble. So, keeping honey out of the fridge helps it stay in the best condition for taste, texture, and ease of use, making the most of its natural properties. Number 9. Melons. When you put a melon in the fridge, it might not taste as sweet or flavorful. The cold temperature can lower the melon's natural sugar levels, making it less enjoyable to eat. Also, keeping a melon in the fridge can change its texture. The chill can turn the fruit mushy and affect how juicy it is, taking away from the crisp and refreshing taste that a perfectly ripe melon should have. Melons that haven't been cut do better when are kept at room temperature. This way, they keep their ideal texture and flavor. Allowing them to stay outside the fridge also lets them continue ripening naturally, ensuring they taste their best and are of the highest quality. Putting whole melons in the fridge could even affect their health benefits. The cold can lead to a loss of some nutrients, such as antioxidants and vitamins. By keeping melons at room temperature, you help preserve these important nutrients, making for a healthier snack. There's also no need to refrigerate uncut melons for safety reasons. Their thick outer skin protects the inside of the fruit from any dirt or germs, so it's safe to store them without cooling. To keep uncut melons fresh for as long as possible, put them in a place that's cool and dry, and keep them out of direct sunlight. This way, they'll stay fresh and delicious without losing their texture or nutritional goodness. Number 10. Olive oil. Putting olive oil in the fridge isn't necessary. It might actually make it worse. Here's why. Olive oil doesn't freeze until it gets really cold, which means it'll turn solid in your refrigerator. This change in texture doesn't ruin the oil, but if you want to use it right away, you'll have to wait for it to melt, which can be a hassle. When olive oil gets cold, water can form inside the container. This water can lead to the growth of bacteria and molds, which could make the olive oil go bad and lose its nice taste. Simply keeping your olive oil in a place that's cool and dark is enough to keep it good. You might notice that olive oil looks cloudy when it's cold. This cloudiness is temporary and goes away once the oil warms up. It doesn't mean the oil is spoiled. Sometimes the cold can also harden the waxes in the oil, but like the cloudiness, this isn't permanent and doesn't harm the quality of the oil. Olive oil is made in a way that naturally stops bacteria from growing, so it's pretty good at staying fresh at room temperature. The antioxidants and other good stuff in olive oil help keep it from going bad, making sure it lasts a long time without needing to be refrigerated. Refrigeration is an important part of keeping our food fresh, but not all foods do well when they're cold. It's really helpful to know where to store different foods so they stay tasty and nutritious. For example, tomatoes should be kept on the countertop, while honey is best stored in the pantry. Knowing the best place to store your food can make it taste better and stay fresh longer. So it's a great idea to learn where each food should be kept to make the most out of what you eat. Your taste buds will definitely be grateful. If you found this information useful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We're here to share more helpful tips to improve your well-being. Thanks for watching. Helping you stay healthy is our top priority.